Units of the Syrian Army and armed forces secured the exit of a number of families from Douma in Damascus countryside who fled the armed terrorist groups. And the 23rd Conference of the Arab Lawyers Union starts in Cairo. A lawsuit is filed against Recep Tayyip Erdogan by a Turkish MP for his sinister role in supporting and arming terrorist groups in Syria. Good afternoon, this is news in English from the Syrian Arab television in Damascus. Syrian Arab Army and armed forces eliminated many terrorists and injured others in Busra Sham and Ajiza in Daraa countryside, according to a military source. The source confirmed that many terrorists were killed and others injured in the area that surrounds Bilal al-Habashi Mosque. Takfiri terrorist organizations admitted they suffered heavy losses in Daraa al-Balad, with many of their members killed, among them Abdul Aziz Mahmoud Idris. In Homs, a military source said units of the army and armed forces killed and injured a number of terrorists in Sahrij, in the area between Rahum and Al-Khalifa, and the area surrounding El Msherfe and Assan in Homs countryside. Meanwhile, an army unit ambushed an armed terrorist group in Al-Ukubar in Al-Qalamun area, killing all the members of the group. Units of the Syrian army and armed forces secured the exit of a number of families from Douma in Damascus countryside who have fled the practices of the armed terrorist organizations and their violations and brutal aggressions on the safe citizens. A police source said that military units helped a number of families to get out of Douma, including 160 persons, among them women and children. They were taken to temporary residential shelters in Qudsaya in Damascus countryside to provide them with the basic needs of food and medical materials. The Syrian army has evacuated hundreds of citizens from Zubdin, Douma and other towns in Damascus countryside during the last year. Takfiri terrorist organizations exist in the farms and villages of the East Nughouta in Damascus countryside. Among them, Al-Nusra Front, which include a number of mercenaries who loot properties and impose dark thoughts on the families there. The United States administration announced that it deployed more than 400 soldiers to train the so-called moderate Syrian opposition. The spokesperson for the United States Department of Defense said that Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Turkey offered to host the training operations scheduled to start next spring. Meanwhile, the Daily Mail newspaper said that United States weapons are still flowing to the terrorists operating in Syria, according to the United States and European security officials. The United States Congress also agreed to offer funds to send more weapons. The General Conference for the Arab Lawyers Union was turned into an event of supporting Syria and its army against the arranged terrorism against it. The participants emphasized their supportive position for the Syrian army, which is fighting terrorism steadfastly, noting that the terrorism we are witnessing nowadays is a main part of the division scheme targeting the Arab nation, as the conference has discussed the Arab regional and international issues, in addition to other issues concerning freedom, democracy and human rights. The Russian Foreign Ministry said that more than 800 Russians were fighting along with the ISIS terrorist group. The director of the New Challenges Department at the Russian Foreign Ministry, Ilya Rukovich, said that the number might increase because of the unlimited military and financial support offered to terrorists. He stressed that fighting terrorism should be carried out without destabilizing the legitimate governments, but through helping these governments to put an end to terrorist acts being carried out on its soil. The Iraqi army gained total control over all the vital areas of Ramadi city. The Defense Ministry of Iraq announced in a statement that the Iraqi Air Force has targeted the terrorist gatherings in Al-Anbar, Samurra and Diyala, and while the security forces of the Diyala Governorate continued their military operations there, as forces from the police and the army seized many villages north of Nainawa, the last ISIS stronghold in that province. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stressed that the preparations for Moscow consultative meeting on the crisis in Syria were continuing actively. Addressing a joint press conference with his Tanzanian counterpart Bernard Membe in Moscow, Lavrov said Russia has not received any refusals from any of the groups of the Syrian opposition to participate in Moscow meeting scheduled in January 26th till the 29th. He added that there is great interest in this event on the part of the opposition figures who have been invited and the so-called foreign players. Lavrov described the communication process as being not easy, noting that it is the first attempt during the period of the Syrian crisis to bring together various opposition representatives, and there have been no such attempts before. The judicial case has been filed against Recep Tayyip Erdogan by a Turkish MP from the Republican People Party. The lawsuit also includes Ahmed Davutoglu because of their sensitive role in supporting and arming the terrorist groups operating in Syria.
Most of the Turkish people know well that the Justice and Development Party is supporting terrorism in Syria in implementation of the US dictations which aim at weakening any state that confronts Israel. The judicial case is the first of its kind, and it would not be the last.
Normal bir siyasi parti değil.
The Justice and Development Party is one of the basic elements of the imperialist conspiracy against this region. The judiciary will account the Turkish government for supporting terrorism sooner or later. The Justice and Development government has been supporting what it called opposition in Syria financially and militarily. But all Turkish people know that those who fight in Syria are terrorist organizations, so the officials responsible for such policies should be tried.
The demonstrations in Bahrain continue against Al-Khalifa suppression, calling for releasing of Ali Salman, the General Secretary of Al-Wifaq Society, who was arrested a couple of weeks ago. While his arresting was extended to an indefinite period, the police used gas canisters and rubber bullets to disperse demonstrators who reacted by throwing stones at the police. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, www.syriaonline.sy. Now to the latest business and market news with Naliman, but after a short break.